Now's a critical time to have media, student media and student journalism to supplement the already threatened academic opportunities, but also grow as active and engaged citizens.
I wrote a negative review of one of the plays that had been presented, and I got in real trouble. I was called into the principal's office and everything because you don't write negative reviews. And Mr. Spanicle totally backed me up, totally. Not only that, but he turned the situation around, so it kind of became freedom of the press. What I learned was never to give up, and that's something I've used my whole life.
We got our fannies hauled in front of the principal, and it really was this learning experience about standing up for yourself, and standing up for the story that you wrote, and standing up for what we published.
You had a deadline that you had to meet, so if you had to be there until 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night, you would be there. If you had to be there every day after school for the week of deadline, you would be there. That is invaluable lifetime experience.
You don't just slap your first idea onto the page and go with it. You try to get the second and third, you try to improve it, and you try and make things work together, and you focus and you get it right. The details matter. It's probably mattered in everything I've done.
Working on the Echo for me really was a hands-on job experience, and I don't know that I recognized it at the time, but I think for me, just the opportunity to really delve into stories, to ask tough questions, to question authority, and to really, I think, feel like you're making a difference by bringing up issues and having them out in the open, being able to gather information and convey it to the high school students and everybody else who reads the Echo, things that they need to know and things that affect their lives.
With a lot of young people, when they write, they don't have a very active, passionate voice that comes out. It's very passive. And so the journalistic aspect allowed us to feel comfortable in seeking out the controversial stories and to have our voice and to present it out there for people to hear and to react to. No matter what you do for a living, you'll need to build rapport with people. And that's what the Echo and other newspapers would definitely provide.
There's a couple things that you need in life regardless of what you do. And one of them is getting along with people and learning to work with people. That's one thing that you get out of the Echo, right? The teamwork, the camaraderie, getting the most of yourself and people who don't report to you, but yet you have to convince them that you're all working towards a common goal. Sometimes it's about telling a story, and that's what the Echo teaches you, how to tell a story.
The idea that the writing you do is always the best sort of writing. The idea that you work as a team. You put up with people who aren't necessarily like you or whose ideas aren't like you, but you find ways to work as a group together and problem solve this.
But it's also about teaching teamwork and also having an experience where you're all pulling together to make something happen.
I'm an anesthesiologist, so I have 5 minutes or so to get you at ease to have an operation. On the Echo, I had to cold call people who I had no idea who they were. They didn't know who I was, but we had to work together and talk together and establish that rapport so they could feel comfortable talking with me so that I can get answered what I wanted to.
And I had to just go up to people I wasn't that comfortable talking to and ask them questions, interview them. Being a part of the paper, suddenly I felt like, oh, okay, I'm a part of this school and I'm a vital part of the school. I'm reporting what's going on.
It actually gave you an opportunity to collaborate, discuss, interject, disagree, and come to consensus in ways that none of the other classes ever trained you to do. Prepared you for the real world you just could not get from classes. All of the sort of chaos, the dynamic, dysfunctional craziness in politics, and again, it was eye-opening because the Echo exposed us to that.
When people in authority in schools and colleges tell us that we must keep a heavy hand of control over student journalists because there's no telling what they might do, our response must be no. We must have the lightest touch possible over these journalists because there's no telling what they might do.
One thing that we all learned was how to listen compassionately and with empathy to people whose lives experience differed from our own. Whether it was interviewing a homeless Glenbard East student who had taken up residence in the tower, or whether it was an administrator we could not understand We learn to pay attention to the world around us and not just the tiny narratives imposed on us by others. We learn to ask questions, hard, uncomfortable, awkward questions to those in power, and we learn to express ourselves through the crucible of really multiple rewrites. I hope as we've captured the voices of a nation through the trilogy, as we captured the voices of Glenbard High School in the newspaper generation after generation, it's not merely an attenuated echo, but actually it's an opportunity with each issue and with each volume for teenagers and now adults to actually ask the question, have I been heard? Am I understood? Am I known?